welcome to the Trade Decorator Festival. This afternoon's session is a product demo on Gyproc Easifillers. So I'm going to be joined live by Artex's technical expert, Ted Elliott, to take your questions in a live Q&A about Gyproc Easifillers following the demo. So we're going to be looking at Gyproc Easifiller, which is a ready-mixed multi-purpose filler for general holes and cracks. Gyproc Easifiller Light, which is an ultra lightweight filler for deep holes and cracks. And Gyproc Easifiller Finish, which is a fine filler for skimming over large areas with light surface damage. So following those demos, as I say, I will be joined by Ted for our live Q&A. And we have a fantastic giveaway for all of you who are joining the session. You will each receive a Gibrap Hammerhead jointing knife, which will ensure best results when applying Gyproc Easifillers. It's the recommended tool to use. If you are watching this session over on Facebook, welcome to the show. It's not too late for you to get involved in the live elements of the session. There is a link there in the post and you can click on that and come across onto the platform with us and join the live Q&A. So without any further delay, let's take a look at the demonstration.
Here we have the Gyproc Easifiller, part of the Ready Mix Fillers range. A convenient, multi-purpose filler, ideal for filling holes and cracks on internal walls. The product's easy to apply, easy to sand to give you a perfect smooth finish. Here we have a wall that suffered some damage, which is rather deep. The ideal product to put this right would be Gyproc Easifiller Light, part of the Gyproc Easifiller Ready Mix range. The preparation required for this type of hole is a small brush and a damp cloth. Simply brush out any loose material and then dampen the hole with the cloth. This will aid adhesion. Before we apply the filler to the wall, it's always good to give the product a little bit of a stir just because it can settle in the tub. The great thing about Gyproc Easifiller Light is it's convenient, ready mixed, doesn't slump, doesn't crack, and there's no need for sanding. Here we have a wall that's in need of some treatment due to lots of holes, hairline cracks and unevenness. And the ideal product to leave this to a smooth finish would be Gyproc Easifiller Finish, part of the Gyproc Easifiller Ready Mix range. The best preparation for this type of wall is to use a stiff filling knife and a brush. We need to use these so we can remove any loose particles from the wall. Before we apply it to the wall, we need to give the product a quick stir. This is because it often settles in the tub and it makes the application a lot easier. Take some product out of the tub and then apply to the wall. The great thing about Gyproc Easifiller Finish is it's convenient as it's ready mixed, but it covers large areas like this really quickly. So what I'm doing here is I'm just levelling out using one of these finishing blades, and this is just compressing the product back into the wall, trying to keep the pressure nice and even just to infill any little areas that aren't full. Now that the Gyproc Easifiller Finish is dry, I'm going to sand out any trowel lines to leave a smooth finish.
Hi, welcome back. That was our demonstration of Gyproc Easifillers. We are now going to go live with Ted Elliott, and I'll be telling you how you can get your hands on the Gyproc Hammerhead jointing knife. So if you would look beneath me on the screen, you'll see a green button that says Join Q&A. If you hit that button, you may need to just fill in your details to get into the next element of the session. Myself and Ted will do a quick mic check and we will join you in the show. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to our live Q&A with Ted Elliott from Gyproc. Ted, hi, welcome to the show.
Hi Paula, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's nice to see you again.
And you, yes. It's difficult to watch yourself on video, I must say.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this Q&A session. We've just, as you've seen, had the demo of the Gyproc Easifillers. For those of you that haven't been on Crowdcast before, and just as a reminder for those who have, feel free to comment as we go along and we'll read out some of your comments in the session. I can see one of you's typed a question already. That's fantastic. If you hit that Ask a Question tab, type in your questions for Ted and I'll put them to him. Or if you'd like to come up on the screen, give us a wave in the comments bar and I'll send you an invitation and you can come and talk to us. That would be lovely. So let's get started with our questions. Ted, I'm being asked by John Fletcher, what size tubs does the range come in?
Okay, so if I start with Easifiller first, that comes in a 1 litre and a 2.5 litre tub. Again, if John wants some coverage, then there's coverages for the 1 litre tub is approximately about 1/3 of a square metre per tub, and that's at a depth of about 3 millimetres. The 2.5 litre is about 0.8 metre square, again at 3 millimetres in depth. For the Easifiller Light, they come in again 1 litre and 2.5 litre. Coverages for that, again, 0.25 metre squared, and that's at 10 millimetre depth for the 2.5 litre. And for the 1 litre, it is 0.1 millimetre squared, again at 10 millimetres. And finally, the Easifiller Finish, that comes in a 3 litre size tub. And generally, we apply that roughly around about 1 millimetre thick. And again, the coverage for that is 3 square metres for a tub. That's at 1 millimetre.
Fantastic. And Fran McPhillips is saying, what's the maximum depth of a hole that can be filled in one application?
That's a good question, actually, because in one go, then generally we would steer you towards the Gyproc Easifiller Light. That's a lightweight product. It uses these light spherical balls. And because it's so light, you can tend to fill a hole a little bit deeper. Now, we would generally say around about 25 millimetres maximum. If you've got a hole that's bigger than that, what you can do is you can apply some, let that to firm up, and then obviously you can apply a second coat and bring it up to the depth that you need. But generally 25 millimeters, for that type of product. And because it is so light, it doesn't slump. So it's not running out of the hole for you. You haven't got to fight with it or anything else. It's quite simply place it in the hole, strike it off so it finishes flush with the surrounding area. And then it's all about a process of drying, and therefore it's about evaporation, so that any moisture in there has now just got to come out of that product before it can start to harden.
Okay. Natalie is asking, what would you recommend using these to apply? Would you recommend using these to apply Gyproc plasterboard patches?
Absolutely, yes, they can be. Now, there are other materials out there available. It all depends on what type of job you're doing. So these products obviously are ready mixed. So ready mixed products, again, like I've just explained, they work by a process, or they harden by a process of evaporation. So they can take slightly longer, when you're applying them in multiple layers. So there are other powdered products which chemically set, which just means that you're able to work on them a little bit quicker. So again, anything that's ready mix will be an air drying product and just takes that little bit longer. Having said that, because they tend to be applied in thin layers, they tend not to take too long, if you know, to dry and to firm up. These are a great product to use with them. So I would be using the Gyproc Easifiller for that application. And again, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've finished, just let it dry, and then you can just lightly sand any sort of marks out of it, and to leave you with a really nice smooth finish.
Perfect. And what's the difference, Ted, between Gyproc Easifil and Gyproc Easifillers?
So they're the two products I've been talking about. So the Easifil is a powder product, and that will chemically set. Now there's a range of products within that Easifil range. They come in Easifil 20, Easifil 45, and Easifil 60. Now that number effectively is its working time. They will take slightly longer to chemically set, but once it has chemically set, it basically means you can then mix up some more and then apply it over the top. So you're not having to wait for the product to completely dry. As long as it's gone hard through its chemical setting process, you will then be able to apply a second coat on, if you ever need it, a third coat. Whereas obviously, like I say, with the Easy Fillers, they are ready mixed products. So again, you do have to wait for them to harden once all that moisture's come out. And the only way that you can tell by that really is just literally by putting your fingers on it. And if it still feels damp, then it's still wet.
And what would you say is the working time for each of these fillers?
So for Easy Fill, are you talking about the Easy Fillers? The ready mix product?
Yes.
So again, it really does depend in terms of application, what type of background you're going on to, and also the temperature of the room that you're working in. So, you know, again, if we talk about now winter months, it tends to be a little bit colder. So therefore we tend to ramp up the heat. And, you know, that can be, it can be beneficial in the sense it can help to warm and dry these products out, but you don't want to sort of fill a hole directly above a radiator or something like that, where you can get what we call sort of forced drying, where it dries too quickly. And then that will end up with sort of shrinkage cracks and that type of thing. So generally, we'd like the room to be warm. And it's very difficult to give you an absolute time as to how long each one of these will dry. But again, background, depth of application, and the sort of warmth of the room are the three factors that will really determine how long it takes. I would say generally like a 1 millimeter coat, you would probably be dry inside an hour and a half, something like that.
Okay. And that's the drying times. What about the working times themselves?
So working time, it will remain workable all the time that, you know, obviously it's not dried out. So what I tend to do is, as I'm working with some on my knife, I'll just drop the lid. I don't have to force the lid down, but I would just place the lid over the top. What that does is it just stops the air getting to the product and then sort of drying the top of it. So they remain workable all day long as you keep them sort of out of open air, which obviously is the bit that helps to dry it. So just by placing a lid or even a bit of card or something on the top, just stops air getting to it and therefore stops it from drying out.
Okay. And do you have to apply multiple coats of Easifiller Finish when working over a large area?
No, you don't. You can do it all in one go. It all depends on how bad the actual sort of wall that you're covering is. Generally, I mean, in my experiences during lockdown, my wife had me decorating everything. So obviously I was using these types of products. Now, you know, for that, I did it in one coat because our walls weren't too bad. We just had a little bit of hairline cracking and such like. But obviously, if you've got some deeper holes, then generally I would be going around and just infilling the deeper holes first, sort of flushing them out to the existing sort of surface, and then I would apply some more of the product over the whole thing once they dried. So roughly 1 millimeter is all you really need. However, if you do need it, let it dry, just give it a light sand, and then you can apply some more. Just be mindful when you're going over some dried product, it will dry the bit that you're going over with a lot quicker because it's a very, very porous background.
Okay. Hi, Brian. Welcome to the show. Sorry you didn't see a link before. Yeah, all the links are on our website if you want to check out the rest of the events up until next Friday. And yeah, if you've missed it, same for anybody else. I know there was a few joined us just for the Q&A and you might have missed the demo. If you use your original link, you can watch the demo and watch this back in your own time as well. So Ted, I've got another question for you. Can you use Easifillers? Oh, I think we covered this before actually about the repair patches. When would I use the powder and when would I use the ready mix fillers?
So ready mix fillers, because they are ready mix, obviously are really convenient. So they're always good to have a tub of these in the back of the van. Now, I know a lot of decorators like to use the powder product because they can control the consistency of the product that they're using. So some guys might like it a little bit wetter, some guys might like it a little bit stiffer, and obviously the thicker it is, the less water you've added to it, shall we say, then it's less shrinkage that you're going to get. So, you know, with something like Easifil, even when it's mixed up to a thick paste, it's still a really easy to use product. It spreads really, really easy. But it is all down to sort of personal preference, really. So, like I say, convenience of just having one in the back of the van just for the odd little job that you might need to do. Or alternatively, you can have bags of the powder stuff in the car if you've got a lot of work to do. But again, you are constrained by the actual chemical setting time of those products as well. So, yeah, it all depends really. It's just personal preference.
Okay. And for decorators working on external projects, can any of these fillers be used outside?
Unfortunately not. No, it would be good if they could. I mean, the lightweight filler, if you could sort of guarantee dried weather for a long period of time, you know, that might stand a chance. But to be honest with you, it's not something that we recommend. We tend to say that they are for internal use only.
Okay, it's good to know. You don't want to be using the wrong product.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, you don't want to put it on and then have a shower of rain and find it's all washed off again. So, no.
I've got a question from Brian Dennett. He says, when skimming internally with ready mixed fillers, how can you prevent the tiny air bubbles that sometimes form?
So the air bubbles are probably being formed by some porosity from the background. So if you've got a really dry surface behind and you're applying a thin layer, then what tends to happen is the moisture out of that new thin layer is being sucked out by the dry background. So what I tend to do is I normally just have a damp sponge. And probably just, if I've got any of these previously filled in areas, then I tend to just dampen the area with a bit of sponge. So therefore that area will soak up the moisture from the sponge and therefore not the product that we're going over. If it's happening across the entire surface, then it may be that you just have to apply a little bit of sealer across the entire surface. Like I say, it is that background porosity just drawing out the moisture from the new coat. So generally, you can also, Brian, you can also do a really, really quick, tight coat. And that really tight coat, again, the moisture will be absorbed by the dry area from the background. And then you can go over again with another coat. So you can use the product to sort of let it be absorbed by the dry background, but then go over with another one, if you know what I mean, which because it's already soaked in some moisture, it's not going to affect the new coat. But I generally would use a sponge and just sort of dampen the areas that are really, really porous.
Oh, that's some great tips there. So it's just about keeping the area wet so it doesn't dry out too quickly.
Yeah, you don't want it to be wet. You just need it to be sort of damp. So just so it's absorbing some moisture, because those holes are generally born out of that moisture out of the new material being sucked in by the dry material behind.
Brian's just asking for clarification. He says, are you saying a wet on wet coat then?
No, what will tend to happen is if you do a really sort of tight coat, what will happen is the moisture will draw into that background, and therefore you'll find that it will tend to sort of firm up fairly rapidly. So it is a wet on wet, but it's not wet as such. It's sort of like a damp background, so therefore it won't drag on it. It should go over it okay. Again, there might just be a need just to wet the edge of your blade with a sponge and just run that over that area first, and then apply another coat over the top.
Fantastic. Does that answer your question, Brian? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I've got another question from John Fletcher. He says,
Yep.
can the finish work on a plastered wall that has some areas of sand cement patching in it?
Sorry, so will the product go over some sand and cement?
Yeah.
Yes, it should do. Yes, yeah. Again, you know, anything that like a sand and cement or any sort of surface with a sheen on it, we basically like to have a little bit of a key. So it might just need a little bit of roughing up if it is a really smooth finish. But yes, it will work on sand and cement. It will generally work on plasterboard, sand, cement, that type of thing, concrete. They all work on those types of products.
Oh, brilliant. It's quite versatile then, so long as it's internal.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. And again, just be mindful again of, you know, like sand and cement areas will be very, very porous. So again, you know, that little bit about the sponge, it might be worth just having one of those to hand just in case.
Perfect. And are there any more products in the range, Ted?
Any more products in the range?
Yes.
No, so not in terms of our fillers. Obviously, we have the Easifil range of products, and then we have the Easifiller range. But we also have some tools that will obviously go very well with these types of products. And obviously, you mentioned before, we have an Easy Patch product that is due to be launched. Again, that's a plasterboard patch. Doesn't have to be used on plasterboard. It can be used on a plastered wall as well. And that generally tends to be used on something like a plasterboard wall where you've got a cavity behind. Obviously, if you're using fillers and you're trying to infill that hole, the product's just going to go through that, through the hole and into the cavity. So it would be well worth considering using an easy patch, which you place over the top of the hole, and then you cover either using Easy Fill or Easy Filler. And obviously the tools that we do, we have jointing knives and filling knives, and they all work really, really well, either with Easy Fill or with the Easy Filler products.
Perfect. Well, I've got another question coming for you from George Bruce. He says, is it any better than skimming a wall with Quicksand?
They're very similar. So Quicksand tends to be, that's a jointing product. So it can be used. Yes, there's no reason why that couldn't. Quicksand tends to get used as a taping and jointing, so that generally it tends to get just used on the joints. But there is no reason why you couldn't use it over a larger area. I know a lot of guys use it for patching and what have you. So yes, they can be applied. All of the preparation things apply to Quicksand as well as they do these products. You know, obviously what we're tending to look at here is not doing masses of rooms with these products. These are for, in particular, the Easifiller Finish is for like a feature wall. You know, it comes in three litre size tubs, so it's not going to do all of your bedroom just in one tub. So whereas obviously Quicksand's a big bag, 25 kilo bag, so it will do a lot more. But yes, it can be used ultimately, but you know, it's again personal preference.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our questions, unless any of you've got any quick last questions you want to type in before we finish the session. Which brings me on to our giveaway. You've been really generous, you guys over there at Jiproc, and said that everybody who attends the session can claim a free Gyproc Hammerhead jointing knife, 150 millimeters one. From the Gyproc hand tools range. Because you believe this is the best tool for applying these products, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I mean they're really handy. Most guys have, you know, tend to have this type of knife around, but with it being 150 millimeters, it's just obviously that little bit wider. It just has a little bit more flexibility, which just enables you then to be able to create a really feathered edge, and therefore just minimizes the amount of sanding that you have to do. So yeah, they're an ideal match for these products.
Perfect. Well, you'll see beneath us on the screen, like when we joined from the demo session, there's a green button there. All you need to do is hit that green button that says claim Gyproc Hammerhead jointing knife, type in your details so that we can send it out to you. It's all GDPR compliant. Obviously, we can't send it to you if we don't have your details, and claim your free product now. Also, if you want to join us for our later session today and you haven't yet registered, whilst you're on the website, take a look at the Trade Decorator Festival page, and there's links there for you to register for this afternoon's 4 o'clock session, and all of the other sessions right through till the end of the event on the 11th of March. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a really great session because you've all got involved. And thanks, Ted. You've been a great guest.
No problem. Thank you very much, Paula. Look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.
See you soon.